Assalamu alaikum, everybody. This is Abu Rasheed on the Arabic Quran YouTube channel. Uh, nice to see everybody out there. Inshallah, hopefully you'll benefit from this video. I am making this video to outline the correct response to a question I had posed earlier in the week. And it was through WhatsApp. I had posed the question on how many doers actually are present and exist in this verse, and what are they? And I have about over 1,000 recipients on my WhatsApp message. I did receive one correct, complete response. I received some partially correct responses and partially incorrect responses and just partial responses in general. And I did not see except one that was complete and correct. So I'm putting this video together. This is verse number 283 from Surah al-Baqarah. And I will break this video up into, there's a couple of segments. The first segment will just go over the general understanding of the verse so we get an idea of what the verse is about. And then I'll get into the grammatical analysis. And through the grammatical analysis, we'll flesh out the where the doers are. Okay. In Arabic, we call those fa'il, and the plural is fawail or fa'ilun. Okay. So let's look at that. Now, let's look at let's recite the verse first, okay? And by the way, the first section where we're going to go through the understanding the verse, for those of you who have not really studied grammar and morphology, you can hang around for the first section where we go through the general understanding the verse and translate it. If you want to hang around for the grammar and morphology section, you're very welcome. You might get disconnected and detached from it because you haven't studied it. But maybe if you watch it, you'll get interested in grammar and morphology, and you want to study Arabic, which I hope is the case. And for those of you who have studied grammar and morphology or need a refresher, or are studying Arabic right now and would like some extra practice, feel free to hang around, and we will, inshallah, answer the question that I posed earlier this week. All right? Okay. So let's get to it. First of all, let's recite the verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإن كنتم على سفر ولم تجدوا كاتبا فرهان مقبوضة فإن أمن بعضكم بعضا فليؤدي الذي اؤتمن أمانته وليتق الله ربه ولا تكتموا الشهادة ومن يكتمها فإنه آثم قلبه والله بما تعملون عليم. صدق الله العظيم. Okay, so let's look at this. This ayah basically is about how to deal with transactions. Okay, one of different verses, various verses on how to deal with a transaction. Okay, now the ayah is talking about a transaction that's taking place and what to do in a certain situation. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he starts off here, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ. If you are on a journey, safar is a journey. If you are on a journey, and when you're on a journey, you are not in a familiar environment. Even if you've been to that environment before, it's not as familiar as your home territory. And when you're not in a familiar environment, you don't have as much control. You don't have access to resources, the usual resources like people, money, certain items that you may need, information, right? And so you're in this environment where it's not the home environment, right? You have challenges there. So Allah Azza wa Jal saying, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ. And if you were on a journey, Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَلَمْ تَجِدُوا كَاتِبًا. And if you did not find a katib here is not writer as we know it. In other contexts, it may be a writer, but here it means a specific type of writer, which is a scribe, a katib. Okay, and this katib, what is he recording? What is he writing and recording? He's recording a transaction that's taking place between A and B, between, let's say, a creditor and a debtor, a buyer and a seller. Okay, and so the creditor, which is known as the da'in or the sahib al-haq, the one who owns the haq, right? Who is owed the money, and then you have the debtor, which is the madin. You have this transaction going on. And right now, the way the ayah is architected up until here, so I'm just talking about, let's say that for now, right? In that particular space of the ayah, we have a relative lack of trust between the two individuals, okay? Between the two parties. So, وَلَمْ تَجِدُوا كَاتِبًا, and if you did not find a scribe, meaning, so let me just stop there for one more point I wanted to get across. That means that the default in this type of situation should be to record the transaction, right? And Ibn Kathir, he said that even if you have a katib, but the katib may not have something to write with. He may not have ink. He may not have paper. Whatever, he doesn't have the materials to carry out his duty, right, of recording the transaction. In that case, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, فَرِهَانٌ مَقْبُوضَةٌ, then a pledge of security that's given right then and there. Rihan is, there's basically two meanings of rihan in modern day Arabic. One is a bet, and another is a pledge. Okay, so for example, you can say the bets were placed among them in the race. وضعت بينهم الرهان في السباق, that bets were placed among them in the race. Okay, وضعت بينهم الرهان في السباق, sorry. And so the ruhan here is the plural of ruhan is the plural of rihan. And in that sentence, we're talking about the meaning of rihan being bets, right? But the meaning we want here is one of pledge, right? The pledge, that it's a pledge. So in English, we would say he accepted the pledges for the trade. قَبِلَ الرُّهُونُ, and this is another plural of rihan. قَبِلَ الرُّهُونَ على التجارة. Okay, that he accepted the pledges for the trade. That's the meaning that we want here. So here it's a pledge. Lihan is a pledge. It's a pledge from who to who? It's a pledge from the debtor to the creditor. Okay, that he will pay eventually what the creditor is owed. Okay, so it's on the madin that he has to give the lihan. It is on the debtor that he has to give the pledge. And the pledge is Allah Azza wa Jalla. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here, he says that it's lihanun maqbuda. Maqbuda is the feminine ismul maf'ul from the verb qabada. Qabada means to hold or grasp or seize. So the term lihanun maqbuda means that it is a pledge that is given right then and there, that the creditor literally can hold and grasp onto as collateral until he receives his payment from the debtor. Okay, so that's what that means. So now I'm gonna put number one here. Okay, and when I say number one is this whole right here. I'm gonna shade it for more emphasis. Okay, this is the period where there's relatively lack of trust between the two parties. Okay, as I said, all right. Here we begin situation number two. That's the way the ayah plays out. Because Allah Azza wa Jal now says, okay, فَإِنْ أَمِنَ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا. Okay, so just this right here, indicating that there's trust between Sahib al-Haq being the creditor, and the Madin or the debtor, right? So you have now you have trust between the two parties, basically. And so the two requirements, one, the default being writing the transaction or recording the transaction, and the pledge of security are need not apply. They need not apply. Why? Because you have security, or trust between the two parties, between the creditor and the debtor, right? So this is where trust exists. If trust exists, Allah Azza wa Jal simply says, فَلْيُؤَدِّ الَّذِي, then let that person fulfill who u'timina, u'tumina. Originally it's i'tamana, but here it came in the majhul or passive form, u'tumina. And u'tumina means the one who is given the trust, the amn, okay? And in this case, it is the debtor given the trust, okay? He's been given the trust, he or she, right? So let that person, no need to record the transaction, no need to provide a security pledge. There's trust exists between the two parties. So let that person fulfill the trust, okay? And then Allah Azza wa Jal says here, وَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهِ, and let that person fear Allah, Rabbah, his or her Lord, okay? And then Allah Azza wa Jal says the following, because not only is the debtor by default witnessing what's going on, there's also witnesses here, and Allah Azza wa Jal is telling anybody who's witnessing this, do not conceal the testimony in case things go bad, things don't happen, right? وَلَا تَكْتُمُوا الشَّهَادَةَ. Allah is saying, and do not conceal the testimony. It came in plural form here because there's more than one person here witnessing this. وَلَا تَكْتُمُوا الشَّهَادَةَ. Okay? And then it says, and then Allah warns those who are concealing the testimony, وَمَن يَكْتُمْهَا, and the ha here goes back to the shahada. وَمَن يَكْتُمْهَا, and whoever conceals it, meaning the testimony, فَإِنَّهُ آثِمٌ قَلْبُ, then that person indeed for sure has a sinning heart, literally a sinning heart. وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ عَلِيمٌ, and Allah is with what you do. Allah is alim, he's all aware, okay? That's how the ayah ends. Now, that is the general understanding in the verse. And before we get to the grammatical analysis, where we're gonna go fishing for the doers, allow me to say that, well, first of all, let me erase everything here. Let's take all this out. And I just want to just go over the quick color coding here for you Arabic students who love Arabic. I just did a simple parts of speech here. So with the color coding. So for example, if you see red, those are all particles. If you see blue, those are verbs. And if you see black, those are all nouns, okay? And if you see pink, those are, I just wanted to highlight where the mudaf ilayh is. So anytime you see an idafa construct where two nouns are juxtaposed and associated with each other, then the mudaf will be black and the mudaf ilayh will be pink, okay? So that's as far as the color coding goes. All right, so now let's get to the grammar here, all right? Now that we have the general meaning of the verse. So first of all, because this verse is coming on the heels of another verse that came before it regarding the same thematic content, basically, the wow here is called the wow of resumption, what we call in Arabic harf al-istinaf. In this case, it's wow al-istinaf, okay? So there's an istinaf, there's a istinaf, there's a resumption, okay? Then we have in. In is harf al-shart. It's a conditional particle of condition. Let me write that. I'm going to write these in, I'll say it in Arabic and English, but I'll just write it in English here so that those who don't know Arabic writing very well, I can just, and don't know the terms in English, I will just write it here in English. So this is a particle of condition. This is particle of resumption, okay? Then we have kuntum. Kuntum is a verb, فعل ناقص. It's a what we call a deficient verb. Okay. Deficient verb. And a deficient verb or incomplete verb requires two nouns. It's subject and predicate, okay? Now, we have kuntum here, either the whole tum or just the ta. There's a difference of opinion amongst the scholars. That right there is the first requirement for the deficient verb, meaning it requires what we call ismu kana here. Ismu kana. Ismu kana is fi mahalli raf. Why? Because kana and her sisters ترفع الاسم وتنصب الخبر. Okay, they make the subject in the nominative state or nominative case, and they make the predicate in the accusative case. Okay, so here we have ismu kana, which is I consider ta, but other scholars may, not that I'm a scholar, but I'm just saying some scholars consider the ta and others consider the tum as the ismu kana. But I'm just saying I'm taking the opinion that it's just the ta. Okay. All right. Then we have ala. Oops. Then we have ala, which is harfu jar. Harfu jar. Okay. What we call preposition. Okay. And we have object of preposition here. Okay. What we call in Arabic ism majroor. And when an ism follows a harfu jar, which is a preposition, it's in the majroor case. Now, this whole right here, this ala safar can be considered khabaru kana fi mahalli nasb. Okay. Now, other scholars, they don't agree with this. They say ala safar here is not khabaru kana. They say that, for example, what's khabaru kana is mahduf. It is omitted. So, for example, it could be وَإِن كُنْتُمْ كَائِنِينَ ala safar. Kainin would be the khabaru kana, mansub. Or, for example, taqdiruhu, it can be estimated as وَإِن كُنْتُمْ موجودين ala safar. All right? So there's a difference of opinion on that. But for now, just simplicity, we can consider this khabaru kana fi mahalli nasb. Okay. All right. Then we have something called, we have two particles coming here, waw and lam. The waw here is called ataf. We can just call it connector. This is a connector, harfu ataf. Okay. Harfu ataf. And this here is a particle of negation. Okay. Plus jussive. Okay, it's from the jawazim al-mudariya. It makes the present tense verb take the jussive mood, essentially, okay? And we'll see that. So the lam is negating the action of the past, okay? Walam. And then we have the verb tajiduna, but it became tajidu because of lam. So tajidu is fi'l mudari. It's a present tense verb. It is in the majzoom mood, okay? And the way we know that is that because of hadaf al-noon, the noon has been dropped and the alif has taken its place, so it is in the majzoom state. Now, up until lam, we did not have any doer. We did not have any fa'il. So our first doer, okay, is right here, and I'm gonna put here number 1. And F for fa'il, okay? Number 1, F. That's our first doer. Wow, it's called waw al-jama', the waw of many. And it is fi mahalli raf, okay? So that's doer number 1, all right? Okay, katiban is maf'ulun bihi. And actually, I should have mentioned here that, and I'm gonna just, all this here, okay? What I'm highlighting there is because in is harfu shar, the conditional particle. The kuntum, by the way, I should have mentioned this. The kuntum is fi mahalli jazm. It is conditional. It is a conditional verb, so it's fi mahalli jazm. Everything I highlighted there, from kuntum all the way to katiba, is called jumlatun shartiyah. conditional sentence. It is a conditional sentence. Why? Because there's a condition. If I told you, for example, if you are at home, then wash the dishes. Okay? If would be the harfu shart. You are at home would be the conditional sentence. You are at home, conditional sentence. Then would be the fa, which is coming up now, would be the fa. Wash the dishes would be the jawab al-shart, what we call the fulfillment of the condition. Okay, so here the fa is the what we call I don't have too much room to write it here, but we can say the fa for jawab. Okay, the fa for the jawab. Okay, it is jawab al-shart, that is. Okay. And so it signifies that now the fulfillment of that shart is coming, the fulfillment of the condition. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying, you know, if you are on a journey and if you don't find a scribe, okay, here is the jawab al-shart, the fulfillment of the condition. فَرِهَانٌ مَقْبُوضَةٌ. Then lihanun maqbuda. And fa is the harf, as we said. Lihan is, as you can see here, it is marfu, given this fact. Now, why is it marfu? Because it is khabar, not the mubtada. There, in some sentences in Arabic and in the Quran, and even in English, okay, so it could be Arabic or English, sometimes the subject is missing and sometimes the khabar is missing. If I was running in the park and you ask me, what are you doing? I could just simply say running. But what I really mean is I am running. But I don't need to say I am, because you can see it's me, right? So running there would be the predicate, would be the khabar essentially. And I am would be the subject, right? But I don't have to say that. Same thing in Arabic and same thing in the Quran. Sometimes the mubtada is missing, sometimes the khabar is missing. But it's understood, it's implied. It's omitted, but it's implied. Here, the rihan is khabar, okay? So the rihan here is, I'm going to put here predicate for the mubtada that is missing, or it's not visible, okay? And you can estimate this as, for example, the mubtada being alladhi, like ism al-mawsul. فَالَّذِي يُسْتَوْثَقُ بِهِ rihanun. فَالَّذِي يُسْتَوْثَقُ بِهِ rihanun. Meaning, what is the translation, which would be, what is relied upon for assurance is a pledge. What is relied upon for assurance is a pledge. Okay, so that would be the subject would be alladhi. The subject, I'm gonna just put here. Oops, the subject invisible. Okay, I'll just put invisible. The subject is invisible. All right, and maqbuda here, the maqbuda is an adjective. It is the na'at or the sifa, and that would make rihan the man'ut or the mawsuf. Okay, so rihan is the predicate, maqbuda is the adjective, the sifa or the na'at. Okay, so that's one section there. Now we look at fa here, okay, and the fa here is simply a connector. It's not a, okay, just it's a harfu atf, okay, it's a fa'al atifiyya, okay. But here we have another condition particle. So particle of condition, okay, I'll just put particle of condition, okay. All right, so we have particle of condition just like we had in the beginning of the verse, right? Fa'in, so if means if, right? If amina, amina is fi'l madin. It is a past tense verb, and it's fi mahalli jazm. So I want to say it's verb of condition. Getting all scrunchy here, but verb of condition. Okay, amina. Why? Because it's coming after a particle of condition, right? So it's amina is a fi mahalli jazm. All right. Now what's following this verb? Now there is a huwa. There's a huwa inside the amina, but that is not the doer. That is not the damir mustatir taqdiruhu huwa. Yani inside amina there's a huwa. That is not the doer. It's referring to ba'd. Now ba'd is marfu. It is marfu, right? So as you can see here, it is marfu and it is mudaf. It is mudaf. But why is it marfu? Because guess what? This is the verb, the fa'il, and it is number 2. So I'm going to put 2f there. 2f. So we now have 2 doers, okay, up until this point. 2 doers. So we have waw al-jama' in tajidu, and then we have ba'du in after amina, okay, after amina. So ba'du, that is marfu, and it is mudaf, and the kum is mudaf ilayh, damir mustatir, في محل jar, because it's mudaf ilayh, right? All right, good. Now following that is ba'da. Okay, now I'm gonna again highlight this part. I'm highlighting this because again, this is the jumlatun shartiyya, just like we had before, the jumlatun shartiyya. All right, so we have ba'dukum ba'da. Okay, actually the whole, oops, I should also highlight this as well. That's the whole jumlatun shartiyya. Amina ba'dukum ba'da. All right. When we have a conditional particle and a conditional sentence, just as we've seen in the beginning of the verse, we're going to have jawab al-shart. You have to fulfill the condition. And this does it, right? So the fa for jawab. Okay. Jawab al-shart. I'm putting jawab, but it's jawab al-shart. Okay. So that's the fa for that. Then we have something called the lam of command. In Arabic, we call that lam al-amr. Lam al-amr. Okay. And the lam al-amr, just like the lam, is from the jawazim al-mudari. It makes the present tense verb take the majzoom mood. And so it makes it go through some changes, okay? Now, where do we see this? Well, the verb after that, the original verb is adda yuaddi with a ya on the end, okay? But the ya here is dropped. The ya here is dropped. The ya is considered harfu illa, a weak letter. Waw and ya are weak letters in the Arabic language, and there's instances where they get dropped. And so here they get dropped. Here the ya gets dropped because it becomes majzoom. Okay, فَلْيُؤَدِّي. All right. Now, inside the yu'addi is a huwa. Okay, there is a veiled pronoun there, a hidden pronoun. ضمير مستتر تقديره هو. But that is not the fa'il. That is not the fa'il. The fa'il is actually coming after the verb, right here. Okay? The alladhi. Sorry. The alladhi. Okay? And this is ismul mawsul, what we call a relative pronoun. And alladhi is fi mahalli raf. Why is that? Because guess what? Yes, you guessed right. This is fa'il number 3. This is fa'il number 3. Okay? All right, very good. tumina. Okay, that is a passive verb, fi'l madin, and it is majhul, right? It is mabni lil majhul. All right. The ma'lum form is i'tamana, but it came as tumina. Okay. Now, what does this mean for our question? Well, majhul verbs do not take a fa'il. They take na'ib fa'il. So inside tumina is the ضمير مستتر تقديره هو. But the huwa is نائب فاعل. نائب فاعل ضمير مستتر تقديره هو نائب فاعل في محل رفع. Okay, so that is not the fa'il. It's the نائب فاعل. All right, so that's tumina, and then we have the noun amana. The noun amana. It is in mansub form. It is mansub because it is maf'ulun bihi. Maf'ulun bihi, right? All right, and you can see that here it's maf'ulun bihi because there's a fatha there indicating its nasb status, okay? And it is mudaf. So the hu here is mudaf ilayh, fi mahalli jar, fi mahalli jar, right? All right, the wow here is a connector. Okay, by the way, let me just put, this is maf'ulun bihi, this is maf'ulun bihi. Okay, this is a passive verb. Okay, all right, let's keep going here. The yattaqi. Actually, wait, I skipped the lam. The lam here again is just like this lam, the lam of command. Okay, that is the lam of command, min jawazim al-mudari. So it takes, it's originally yattaqi, yeah, yattaqi, sorry, yattaqi, and the ya gets dropped, yattaqi, it becomes yattaqi, okay, without the ya, and it's just left with that kasra there at the end, okay. Well, yattaqi, so let him fear, okay. Now inside yattaqi is huwa, is inside, is huwa, okay. So we have another doer coming here, okay. So inside here, let me put, actually, right here. So huwa is inside yattaqi, and that is fa'il number 4, and it is fi mahalli raf because it's huwa, mabni, right? Fi mahalli raf. Perfect. Then we have Allah, lafdul jalala. Lafdul jalala is mansub. Why is it mansub? Because it is maf'ulun bihi. Maf'ulun bihi. All right. Okay. So far we have 4 verbs, right? Sorry, 4 fa'ils. We have 4 fa'ils at this point. All right. Are there more? Well, let's keep going. So Rabba is mansub, right? And Rabba here is mansub because it is either sifa, you can consider it a sifa, or lafdul jalala, or you can consider it badal for lafdul jalala, all right? And since it's mudaf, the hu here, damir muttasil, is mudaf ilayh fi mahalli jar. Mudaf ilayh fi mahalli jar, right? Then we have the wow, and here the wow is just a connector. Okay, this you can consider either as badal in English would you say apposition or adjective, or it could be a sifa. Okay, all right, and then then we have our mudaf ilayh there after rab. Okay. You notice I'm not writing for every word what it is, but where I can fit it in and it makes sense, I'm doing that. Okay. All right. So we have, sorry, wow, right? We have the wow there is a connector. And then we have this la right here is called the la of prohibition. Okay. In Arabic, we call that la nahiya. And it is also from, just like lam and the lam al-amr, it is from the jawazim al-mudari. Jawazim al-mudari. It makes the present tense verb majzoom. So originally, the verb that was following la would have been taktumun, but the noon got dropped, right? So we say bihadaf noon is the sign, or the omission of the noon is the sign of it being majzoom, and the alif took its place, right? So taktumu. Now, taktum, even though it's a prohibition, but technically there's still a doer there. So in Arabic, the doer can be asked to, for example, in command forms, you can be asked to do something and you can be asked to refrain from something, but you're still the doer. So here we have number 5. This is number 5. Okay. There's doer number 5 right there. Okay, في محل رفع, واو الجماعة, the wow of many, the wow of plural, the plural wow, right? And by the way, that's also تقديره أنتم, just like تجدوا, the wow الجماعة is تقديره أنتم, meaning you. In the wow الجماعة in تكتموا is also أنتم, it's there as well, okay? That's the estimation. All right. And then we have the word ash-shahada. It is mansub because it is maf'ulun bihi. Okay, maf'ulun bihi. I'll just put MB there. All right, maf'ulun bihi. Okay, we'll keep going here, and you know, this gets pretty exhausting, right? But we'll keep going until the end. This wow here is the wow of resumption. Particle. Okay. All right, so particle of resumption, wow. And then man. Man is ismu shart. It is not a particle. It's actually a noun. And here, what role, you know, besides it's signifying that a condition is coming, right? What role is it playing in the sentence? Well, it's actually, the sentence is starting here. It is actually mubtada, okay? في محل رفع. So this man here is في محل رفع, and it is mubtada. Because it's في محل رفع, it is mubtada, or it's mubtada and thus it's في محل رفع, okay? ومن يكتمها, so here's a verb, and the verb here is majzoom. So we can see here that it is a verb of condition, or verb of condition. Okay, and it is fi mahalli jazm. Okay, from a verb of condition perspective, it is not fi mahalli jazm. Sorry, it is majzoom because you can see the sukun there. Okay, so it is majzoom because it is a verb of condition. All right. Now inside yaktum we have huwa. Okay, which means that this is actually verb form number 6, or fa'il number 6. 6F we can write here, okay? So that's our 6th doer. That's our 6th doer. And that's fi mahalli raf, okay? So the verb yaktum is majzoom because it's the verb of condition, but the doer inside, which is inside the verb, which is huwa, taqdiruhu huwa, that is fi mahalli raf because it's mabni, right? Okay, so that's the 6th doer. This ha here is مفعول به. Okay, في محل نصب لأنه مبني. Okay, this ضمير متصل, attached pronoun, is في محل نصب because it is a direct object. Okay, مفعول به. Okay, so now I'm going to this whole sentence here. يكتمها. Let me just. That right here is your jumlatun shartiya. Actually, I should, jumlatun shartiya. Okay. And when we have a conditional sentence or jumlatun shartiya, that means we're going to see that fa coming. So here again is the fa of jawab. It's signifying the beginning of the jawab al-shart. Okay. Now this in here is the harfun nasb with tawkid. What is the particle of emphasis? Okay, and accusativeness. Okay, so we have the particle of emphasis and accusative. Inna, basically inna, and inna acts like a verb. Its job is to emphasize, and its job is to make it takes two nouns, a subject and a predicate, and it considers the subject mansub or fi mahalli nasb, and it considers the predicate مرفوع or في محل رفع. It like Kana and her sisters, like I said, ترفع الاسم وتنصب الخبر. Inna and her sisters do the opposite. They do تنصب الاسم وترفع الخبر. Okay, so this who here, okay, it is اسم إن في محل نصب. اسم إن في محل نصب. Now آثم, which is sinning, اسم فاعل, here it is the خبر of inna. Okay, so this is the ism of inna and this is the khabar of inna. All right, and the khabar of inna is marfu, athim. It is ismun fa'il. Okay, now here's the thing is I'm gonna, before I continue, students who are just starting to study Arabic, and there's no blame on that. I'm just saying it's natural. They start understanding, or they are of the understanding in the beginning, that the only the doer is associated with a verb, and that the direct object is also associated with a verb. That's not necessarily the case. Okay, we do know, for example, if I said ضربت الطاولة, I struck the table. الطاولة is the direct object because ضربت is the verb, right? And it includes me. أنا ضربت الطاولة, right? Or just ضربت الطاولة. And if I said, for example, ذهب محمد إلى البقالة, Muhammad went to the grocery store. Well, that's pretty easy. The verb is ذهب, and Muhammadun is the fa'il, right? So you have a verb associated with a doer, and you have a verb associated with a direct object. However, the ismun fa'il, it can serve the function of a verb. Okay, it can serve that, which means that it can take a direct object and it can take a doer. Okay, if you read, for example, Surah al-Ahzab, Allah Azza wa Jalla, it's a long ayah and I have not memorized it, but part of the ayah I will recall, and says وَذَاكِرِينَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا وَذَاكِرَاتٍ وَذَاكِرَات, right? الذاكرين here is ismun fa'il, is it not? Right? It's ismun fa'il. It's an active participle. And if you notice in the ayah after al-dhakirin, Allah, the lafdul jalala is mansub. It's not wa-dhakirin Allahu, and it's not mudafin mudaf ilayh. No, al-dhakirin actually have al-ta'rif on it, right? So it's ma'rifah, right? And we know that the mudaf is never cannot take al, nor can it take tanween. So with dhakirin Allah, just that, we can see that the ism fa'il, it can take a maf'ul bihi. In this case, lafdul jalala maf'ul bihi mansub, right? Well, just like the ism fa'il can take a maf'ul bihi, ism fa'il can also take a doer. And you can see here, this is an excellent example of that. Athimun qalbuhu, right? So right here, I'm going to circle this. The qalbu is actually a fa'il. That's our fa'il number 7. And the qalbu is actually al-fa'il li-ism al-fa'il. It is the fa'il for the ism al-fa'il. Okay, it is the doer for the active participle ath. And in practical terms, we could say in the sinning heart. Okay, it's the heart that is doing the sinning. Okay, the heart itself is doing the sinning. The heart is doing something. It is the doer. What is it doing? Athimun. It is doing the sinning. When is it doing it? It's whoever conceals the testimony. وَمَنْ يَكْتُمْهَا فَإِنَّهُ آثِمٌ قَلْبُهُ, right? And it is also mudaf, right? It is marfu because it is a fa'il, and it is mudaf. So here it is the who is mudaf ilayh fi mahalli jar, right? Right? And then it begins a new sentence. New in the sense that it's a new sentence, but there's isti'naf. So this is the particle of resumption again. I'll just put like that, particle of resumption, harf al-isti'naf, or waw al-isti'nafiyya, or waw al-isti'naf, okay? And then lafdul jalala is marfu. Why is it marfu? Because it is mubtada. It is the subject. And the bih is harfu jar. And what comes after this ma is called the relative ma, or ma al-mawsula. And it is a noun, and it is attached to harfu jar. And it is mabni, it's indeclinable. So its case is في محل جر. في محل جر. All right. والله بما. So this is a جملة اسمية, obviously, right? So we have لفظ الجلالة is مبتدا. Now we're looking for the khabar. Well, the khabar is not coming yet because what comes next is the verb. Is the verb. That's not the khabar, right? It's not the khabar fi mahalli raf. It's just the verb. Okay, because you could say wallahu bima alim. Okay, although the ma is looking for the ma al mawsula is looking for silat al mawsula. So the silat al mawsula, I'll put it in a different color here. This is a different color. Well, it looks like the same color as the other, but what I'm trying to point out is this is silat al mawsula, right? This is the relative relative clause that comes after a relative pronoun. Okay. All right. Now, ta'maluna here is the verb. You can probably already detect we have come across now the eighth verb. There's not verb, sorry, eighth fa'il, right? That's the eighth fa'il. All right. Wa'al jama' fi mahalli raf. And ta'maluna, by the way, the verb itself is marfu. بثبوت النون, meaning the presence of the noon, it shows that it's marfu. But the wa'al jama' is fi mahalli raf, and it is the fa'il because it's mabni, right? All right. It's fixed. And then alim here is the predicate or the khabar. Okay. It is marfu, as you can see. Both are marfu. Okay. Anyways, that, brothers and sisters, everybody, all you out there, that gives us the answer. We have eight doers, and we've outlined the 8 doers. Here's the first one, in tajidu wawal jama'a, right? And then we have number 2 here, okay, which is ba'd. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 here, we have alladhi fi mahalli raf. Okay, then we have the huwa here in yattaqi, number 4. Okay, and then number 5, we have waw al-jama'a in taktumu, right? And then we have we had number 6. Where did number 6 go? Yeah, number 6 is here in yaktum. And then number 7 in qalbu, right? Marfu. And then we have number 8 here in ta'malun. Whew, boy, I don't know about you, but I could use a break right now. I'm tired. This can get pretty technical. It's a good brain teaser, but I think what I'm going to do right now is probably go do some exercise, physical exercise, because I need it, because this right here was a lot of mental exercise. All right, brothers and sisters, inshallah, we'll see you next time. Hopefully now this makes sense. And now you can answer, not only this ayah, but you picked up stuff on how to detect the nouns, the fa'ils, I should say, the doers, and other things, right? The other things as well. So if you like this video, please share it, like it, set your notifications, subscribe to the channel. Please do that. That supports us here at the channel. This channel is not monetized. I do this as a community service, fi sabilillah. And also, if you would like to learn Arabic in a classroom setting for free online, get in touch with me on the email address in the description field. For those of you who have my WhatsApp number, feel free to contact me on my WhatsApp number. Okay? All right. For now, dumtum fi amanillah wa ri'ayati. This is Abu Rasheed saying, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.